The warship Clospare of Hierarchy hung in the void like a predator waiting to strike. Commander Tharok stood on the bridge, his 4 eyes fixed on the diplomatic vessel Unity approaching their position. Inside that fragile human craft was liaison Mara Lin, the first human liaison assigned to a Viren fleet. The Viren were a warrior species evolved from pack hunters on a high-gravity world where only the strongest survived. Their entire society was built on dominance hierarchies, combat prowess, and territorial displays. To invite a human aboard was unprecedented. To allow her to interact with the crew's offspring was unthinkable. Yet the Galactic Council had insisted. Integration, understanding, cooperation. Tharok's throat sac inflated with irritation. Mara Lin stepped through the airlock 3 hours later, her pressure suit replaced by standard station wear. She was small by Viren standards, standing barely to Tharok's mid-thorax with strange forward-facing eyes and no visible natural weapons. Her species had conquered their home world not through fang or claw, but through something the Viren found deeply unsettling: persistence and creativity. "Commander," Mara said, performing the Viren greeting by lowering her head and extending both arms. The gesture was passable, if somewhat clumsy. "Liaison Mara Lin," Tharok replied, his translator rendering his growls into flat standard. "You will observe, you will learn our protocols. You will not interfere with ship operations." "Understood, Commander." What Tharok hadn't mentioned was the hatchery. The Clospire was a generational vessel, and the current crew cycle had produced 17 cubs. They were kept in a secured section of the ship, supervised by wardens who taught them the ways of strength, hierarchy, and honor. Mara discovered the hatchery on her second day. She had been wandering the ship's common areas when she heard it, a high-pitched keening sound, almost musical. Following the noise, she found herself at a reinforced door marked with Viren glyphs she couldn't read. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, she found chaos. 7 Viren cubs, each about the size of a large dog, were tumbling over each other in what appeared to be a practice combat exercise. Their scales were still soft, their claws barely hardened, but they attacked the padded training dummies with enthusiastic ferocity. One cub sat apart from the others, smaller and clearly struggling. He kept trying to join the group, but the larger cubs would shoulder him aside. His head crest kept drooping in what Mara instinctively recognized as dejection. "Hey there," Mara said softly, crouching down. The cub's head snapped toward her, eyes wide. He made a small chirping sound. "I'm Mara, what's your name?" The cub tilted his head, then tapped his chest twice with one small claw. The translator on Mara's wrist chimed, "Pip, designation, Pip. Nice to meet you, Pip." Over the next few weeks, Mara made the hatchery her unofficial station. The wardens were initially suspicious, but Mara had a gift the Viren had never encountered. She treated the cubs not as warriors in training, but as children. She played with them. She told them stories. She showed them human games that involved cooperation instead of dominance, and she made them hats. It started as a joke. Mara had brought fabric scraps from her quarters, intending to repair her duty jacket. Pip had been watching her with intense curiosity, his head tilting at increasingly improbable angles. On impulse, Mara folded a piece of red fabric into a simple triangle and placed it on his head. Pip's eyes widened. He chirped excitedly, prancing in a circle. The other cubs swarmed immediately, demanding their own hats. Mara spent the next 3 days crafting miniature caps for all 17 cubs, little fabric caps with chin straps, each one unique. Pip got a red one with a small badge she'd fashioned from a spare rank insignia. The largest cub got a blue one with silver trim. The twins got matching green caps. The cubs wore them everywhere. They refused to remove them, even during combat practice. The wardens were baffled but didn't interfere. The cubs seemed happier, more focused. They fought with less genuine aggression and more playful energy. Commander Tharok first noticed the hats during a routine inspection of the hatchery deck. He froze in the doorway. Every cub wore a colored cap. They sat in formation, organized by hat color. Pip, wearing the red cap with the insignia, sat at the front. When Tharok entered, Pip chirped once and all the cubs turned to face the commander in perfect unison. Behind them, Mara Lynn stood with her arms folded, smiling. Tharok's blood ran cold. In Viren culture, colored markers denoted rank and unit designation. Red with insignia meant command authority. Blue with silver indicated tactical officers. Green pairs were reconnaissance teams. The cubs were displaying a perfect military formation, organized by specialty with a clear chain of command. The human had done the impossible. She had organized the cubs into a functional command structure. But she was human. Humans didn't follow the Viren hierarchy, which meant she wasn't placing them under his command. She was claiming them for herself. Tharok's throat sac inflated to full threat display. "What have you done?" Mara blinked. "You have marked them, designated their roles, claimed command authority." "I what?" "The red marker with insignia, that is command designation. The blue with trim, tactical specialization. The green pairs, scout teams." Tharok's voice dropped to a dangerous growl. "You have created a military unit from our offspring." Mara's eyes went wide. She looked at the cubs, then at Tharok, then back at the cubs. "Commander, I made them hats because they're cute, and I thought it would be fun. I didn't know they meant anything." "Ignorance is no defense. By Viren law you have." Pip chirped. Tharok stopped, looked down. The small cub walked forward, removed his red cap and placed it at Tharok's feet. Then he sat back and made a gesture. The commander recognized it, a subordinate offering tribute to superior. One by one, the other cubs did the same. They removed their hats, placed them in a pile, and sat in a perfect semicircle. Then Pip picked up his hat, walked to Mara, and placed it on her foot. He looked up at her with wide eyes and made a soft rumbling sound that the translator rendered as, "Packmother, keep safe." Mara's eyes filled with tears. Tharok understood. The human hadn't claimed them as warriors. She had done something far more dangerous. She had made them love her. In Viren culture, warriors followed strength. But children followed whoever made them feel protected, whoever played with them, whoever gave them gifts. The commander's threat display deflated. He looked at Mara Lynn, this small human who had accidentally conquered 17 Viren cubs with nothing but fabric and kindness. And he made a decision that would change the course of Viren, human relations forever. "Keep the hats," he said quietly, "but you will teach me how you did this." "Did what?" "Made them happy." Mara smiled. Pip chirped and put his hat back on. The other cubs followed suit, and somewhere in the cold void of space, the clawspire of hierarchy became a little less about hierarchy and a little more about family. The continuation of the story will be released on this channel. Subscribe so you don't miss it.